And you're welcome. It's time once again for Monday. Let's do the headlines on the dailies this morning. And with me, I have the delectable Winfrey. Who's, are you wearing that jacket or is it wearing you?
Yeah, I'm wearing it. Like, is it on me or not?
That's how I'm going to end the show. I'm going to make sure my jacket's wearing me.
Yeah, and you bump up a little in fashion.
Oh. I don't know if that's a sub or if it's okay. No problem.
It's a compliment.
Let's do the papers this morning. Let's first off mention what we have. We've got the Guardian Nation, Daily Trust, and the Independent. So we start from the Guardian this morning, and first headline that meets the eye. Estimators peg exchange rate at 1,400 naira per dollar as naira finds fair value.
Okay.
We should be happy about that. Coming from 1,800 naira, like we were hearing from 2 weeks ago, 1,400 naira is.
But then again, when you consider the fact that it came from 320.
Yeah, true. I know, yeah. So perhaps maybe we are on our way. But then you also must note that the dollar itself is not very strong
exactly.
as well.
So, yeah.
Because if you compare the naira to the pound currently, then you get the realization that we are still in the doldrums.
Yeah.
So, let's celebrate our little wins. The Guardian has the chart once again, Naira value measurement from Goldman Sachs, liquidated entities, and many more. So you want to check out that chart there. Still on the Guardian to the side there, delays, uncertainties in student loan scheme compound woes. That's still on. And FG lawmakers false budget padding claims. Hariwa urges probe, and of course, security agencies mum on search for abducted Kuriga school pupils as it continues. Now, that was a big deal from Thursday/Friday last week.
Yeah.
There are claims that this had happened from way earlier in the week. And the disturbing fact is that these were a good number of people that were transported from one location to another undisturbed illegally. And nothing's come from that since regarding the search or whether they've been found or at least track them. So that's very worrying. And this is the first time I think this is happening in the northeast, if I'm not mistaken, as against where it was the northwest. Hopefully these pupils mostly, are found. And
so now this actually, I think on Friday, this actually came to my mind. I was literally driving and I got stopped by a number of uniformed men on the road, right, at several points. I think about 3 to 4 sets before I got to where I was going to. And it actually just made me think, okay, if we're having this much
police
interruptions, that's what I call them actually, on the road here, where, I mean, I know there's crime in Lagos, but then again, we talk about where unarmed, pupils are literally being abducted back and everything. Can't they just divert this attention to those areas? Because I hear,
you would think.
Anyways, yeah.
But if you have visited the north, you'd realize how big an expense it is and how difficult it is to actually police.
More reason why. Reason why.
Last headline for the Guardian before we move on to your paper. SERAP asks NCC to restore blocked phone lines. Yeah, that's happened again. Disrupting businesses and communication, and people can't take that at this moment because it's causing even more suffering. Or perhaps see an iteration in another daily. We'll take it then. What do you have?
Okay, so I have here with me The Nation, and I'll start with the major headlines there. We have presidency slams senator over budget padding claim. Audits report indicts NUPRC customs for non-remittance into Federation accounts. We have that on page 5. At the top of that, to the left, we have CBN screens banks financial reports for infractions, and we have that on page 5 as well. Foreign investors pump $823 million into forex market. We have that on page 15. Pro-Shaibu protesters seek ends to impeachment move. We have that on page 6. Sultan pronounces today as first day of Ramadan month. We have that on page 29. Under the strip there below the image, we have Disco explains blackouts in Kwara, Oyo, Ogun. 40,000 Ogun farmers get lifts. We have that on page 3 and 6 respectively. I think what catches my eye here, definitely the major headlines. We have Presidency slam senators over budget padding. And I love to see things like this on the front of the dailies because it literally gives us insights of literally how things usually go and how presidency, is calling that out. It gives us a little bit of confidence when with things like this. And of course, the situation with the discos, I mean, you're explaining blackouts for Kwara or your Ogun. What of us?
You've got your powers in your backyard.
Because I'm cooking these days and I'm
Because you
thinking...
can afford it. We move now to the Daily Trust, shall we?
It's
Daily
crazy.
Trust. Day one, parents of abducted Kaduna students cry out for help. We watched bandits shepherd our kids to the bush. Escapees recount near-death experience. My brother shot dead trying to save his siblings. Very sad stories there, and some of the stories are pictures of the victims on that paper. Workers trapped as 5-story building collapses in Anambra. And all African Games, Niger female wrestlers scoop 6 gold medals. Congratulations to them. 59 doctors resign in Nasarawa alleged poor welfare. And of course, Yari's annual Ramadan feeding program benefits 2,000, or rather 250,000 households.
Yes, we have that.
At the top for the Daily Trust, 2 months after EFCC presidency silent on Better Edu, NSIPA boss. FG denies budget padding for Ningi's allegation, and Ramadan begins today, says the Sultan, as we saw from earlier. Final newspaper would be yours.
Yes, of course, and that's the Daily Independent. New CBN interest rates will put, real sector under pressure. We have that from analysts, and at the top left of the paper, we have Serap threatens NCC with lawsuits for blocking Nigerians' phone lines. Presidency denies claims of operating 2 versions of 2024 budgets. Okay. And below the image there, we have, to the left, security operatives kill 20 IPOP fighters in Imo gun battle, recover assorted weapons. We have that on page 7. Fire got Kanu electricity transmission station, markets in Yanagwa. We have that on page 6. We have there as well, governors adopt fresh strategies to end food crisis, economic hardship. At the top of that, to the left, we have vandals plunge FCT residents into darkness again. We have that on page 29. 2024 Ramadan fasting begins today. Anyauku eminent leaders of thought to convene national dialogue. We have that on page 6. And on the strip, abductions, it's time to act fast, says Rep Speaker on page 7. Yeah, so the line blockage, I think that is something serious because,
Yes,
I mean,
indeed, that is.
the networks have been very, very shameful.
Yeah, it has been, and then you wonder
it's affecting everything.
if this is the time to even go on a process of blocking lines. But then the economic impact of that alone, when you block people's lines. Like I had a very interesting instance with my barber, a new barber who I'd never used before, and I asked him for his number, and he said, you can only reach me out on WhatsApp. And I asked what happened.
Why? Because
I'm like, okay, so does everybody know this? It's like, hey, they don't, and it's affected his business.
Yeah.
So imagine going through what Nigeria is going through as an individual, and then having your line blocked where you can't even, do normal transactions.
Yeah.
Even transactions.
that's what I'm saying. It affects everything.
So,
from economic
maybe not the
to
best time.
communications
Maybe
and all
not
of
the best
that.
time. Good to see that was actually reversed.
Yeah.
But then that's as much as we can take for the dailies this morning. Thank you very much for joining us.